Welcome back to the Watchman. Tonight we're going to do a little devotional entitled The Master Weaver, Trusting God's Tapestry. Have you ever looked at the backside of a hand-woven tapestry? Well, if you haven't, it's chaotic. Tangles of threads, knots, loops, colors crisscrossing every direction with no clear picture. It's very messy. It looks like one big giant mistake. But when you flip it over, you'll see a breathtaking masterpiece. The artist always knew what they were creating when the process looked like chaos from behind. Life feels that way sometimes with a messy backside, doesn't it? See, broken relationships, unexpected detours, disappointments. It doesn't make sense from where we're standing, at least in the moment. But from God's perspective, every thread has its purpose. God is weaving in His perfect timing. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. Beautiful, the word for that is yates. God orders time so that everything has a proper season and purpose, appropriate, fitting, right in its place. Eternity, ha'olam. God has placed in humans a longing for the eternal, the transcendent, and infinite. Something hidden or obscured. Humans sense that there is more than meets the eye, a mystery beyond temporal life. See, something that transcends our human comprehension. We often long to understand the why behind life's tangled moments, but Ecclesiastes reminds us that God's work is timeless. He's not rushed by our clocks or pressured by our expectations. He's making everything beautiful, but in His time, not ours. The gaps and knots in the thread are necessary for beauty that will eventually emerge. God's perspective is higher than ours. Isaiah 55:8-9 says, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Thoughts here, shazav, is to think, to plan, to reckon, or weave. The significance here is that this word carries the idea of plans, intentions, and designs, not just abstract thinking. God isn't saying His random ideas are different from ours. He's saying His purposes, His strategies, and His design for history and for us are far above ours. It suggests intentionality and divine sovereignty. When we see a mess, God sees progress. The word heavens here is shamayim and earth is eretz. The distinct difference, between heaven and earth expresses the immeasurable gap between divine wisdom and human understanding. This is poetic hyperbole, not meant to measure distance, but to highlight God's incomparability. He's higher than we are. His mind is greater than ours. By contrasting heavens with earth, Isaiah is emphasizing the vast qualitative difference between God's perspective and ours, the human. The separation between divine and human wisdom. His ways are higher than ours. His patterns are more intricate than we can even imagine. From where we stand, it's impossible to see how the thread in our hand connects to the final design. But God is the master weaver. He's working with an eternal pattern we cannot yet comprehend. See, you are His work of art. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 says, For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Now, the word workmanship here is poema in Greek. It's the same root word for poem or masterpiece. You are not a random collection of loose threads. You are God's intentional creation, woven with care and purpose. The good works He has planned for you are already part of His design. Every single thread, the joys, the trials, is being placed exactly where it needs to be. Trust the weaver. You may only see the tangled threads right now, but God is crafting a masterpiece. The backside of the tapestry may seem confusing, but the front is a work of divine beauty. Today, trust the weaver. Surrender the need to understand every detail. God's timing, His perspective, His workmanship are all part of a design more beautiful than you can ever imagine. What tangled threads in your life do you need to surrender to the Master Weaver today? Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care, be strong, and God bless.